We are going to example 2 of our work. We are using the completing the square method in solving this quadratic equation. So what do we have to do first? Let's subtract 10 from both sides. We said 5x squared plus 32x plus 10 minus 10 equals to 0 minus 10. So we discover that plus 10 minus 10 will go. So we have 5x squared plus 32x equals minus 10. Now, what do we have to do in this place now? We need to divide all through by 5. We divide all through by 5. Now, that would be divide all through by 5. Divide both sides by 5. So that will now be 5x squared divided by 5 plus 32x divided by 5 equals minus 10 divided by 5. So 5 cancel 5. We have x squared plus 32x divided by 5 equals 5 here 1, 5 here 2 equals minus 2. Now, the next thing we are going to do in this place is we add half of the coefficient of x, squared it to both, we now add it to both sides. Half of the coefficient of x, we squared it, we add it to both sides of this equation. Now, how do we do that? What is half of 32 divided by 5? Add half of the coefficient of x to both sides. We said add half of the coefficients of x squared to both sides. So what are we trying to say is that half of this coefficient of x, you squared it, then you now add it to both sides. So what will be the half of 32 over 5? Because the coefficient of x in this place is 32 over 5. What will be the half of it? So to find the half of it, you can just simply do it in this form. That's say 32 divided by 5 divided by 2 over 1. So you can change the, using simple multiplication method, it will now be 32 over 5 times 1 over 2, which will give us 32 times 1, 32 over 10. So we can also still further divide it and say 2 here 16, 2 here 5. So that will give us 16 over 5. So you squared this 16 over 5, then you add it to both sides. So that will now give you x squared plus 32x over 5 plus 16 over 5 squared equals minus 2 plus 16 over 5 squared. So now we proceed from this place now. So what will be the result? From the left hand side, this one is squared, this one is squared. So we bring them together by taking our x, the sign after it, then 16 over 5, then we square both of them. We make it to be equals to minus 2. So plus, what is 16 squared? 16 times 16, that should be 16 times 16, 6 times 6, 36, 3, 9, 6, 1. So that should be 256. That should be 256 all over 5 times 5, 25. So this is what we will arrive at. So we can say this one equals to over 1. Then after that you simplify this. If the LCM is 25, if the LCM is 25, because 25 times 1 is 25, so we now have 25 times 2, we have it to be 50, which is minus 50. 25 times minus 2, that will give us minus 50. 1 times this give us plus what? 256. And that will eventually give us what? Minus, that's 256 minus 50. We have our 6, 0, 2. We have 206. That should be 206 all over 25. So bringing our previous term, we have x plus 16 over 5 all square equals 206 all over 25. So at this junction now, what do we have to do? We take the square roots of both sides. Take the square root of both sides. So that would be x plus 16 over 5 square, take the square root of it, equals 2 over 6 all over 25. You square root of it, then you plus or minus here, plus or minus. So let's clean this side to proceed. Let's clean this side to proceed. Now, what we have left, we have square root of x plus 16 over 5 all squared. I'm trying to rewrite it so that we can know where we stopped. Square root of 206 all over 25. Now, if you look at this now, you will discover that this 2 will cancel the square root. We have x plus 16 over 5 left, which is equals to, if you find the square root of 206, I believe 206 will not have a certain figure, but let's just use a calculator to find the square root of 206. Square root of 206, square root of 206, that will give us 14.3 or 14.4. So we have plus minus 14.4. Then square root of 25 is 5. So in this regard now, we subtract 16 over 5 from both sides. We say subtract 16 over 5 from both sides. So it will now be x plus 16 over 5 minus 16 over 5 equals plus minus 14.4 over 5 minus 16 over 5. Now this one, we cancel this, we have x left. So separate this sign so that you can have two equations and two values for x. One will be 14.4 over 5 minus 16 over 5, or the other minus sign, minus 14 over 5, 14.4 over 5, minus 16 over 5. So from this side, what would the value of x be? 14.4 minus 16. 14.4 minus 16. 14.4 minus 16. That will give us 1.6 minus 1.6 all over 5. So, or this side, minus 14.4 minus 16, minus 14.4 minus 16. That gives us minus 30.4 minus 30.4 over 5. Minus 30.4 over 5. So these are the two values for the value of x. Is either x is equals to minus 1.6 over 5, or x will be equal to minus 30.4 over 5. This is the way to use completing the square method in solving your quadratic equation. Thank you.